live with Talk Sport.
Hello, Talk Sport's coverage of Watford.
In fact, Exeter against Gloucester, close to the full-time whistle. They lead Exeter lead Gloucester 23 points to 6. Sale 18, Northampton 10. And Wasps have been hauled back a bit by Bristol. Wasps 32, Bristol 28. 5 minutes to go in that game. What an opportunity is this for England's back row, Matt Dawson, with no Pocock?
Yeah, I think the England back row have just been growing in confidence quietly. There was lots of questions asked of them at the beginning of this autumn international, and I think probably Underhill, Wilson have really put their hands up to say we can play at this level. Shields still probably got something to prove. I think he's probably a man in the most danger around that position. Could you play I don't know whether you could play Wilson at 6, Vunipola at 8, Underhill coming in at 7 is adding a very different dimension. I don't know whether it's the right dimension for this England side, but it's a different dimension. It's more of a traditional right dimension for this England side, but it's a different dimension. It's a more of a traditional 7, the jackal over the ball. It's the hard defensive low tackles, stopping people on the gain line.
Which has happened partly by fluke, hasn't it, in these autumn internationals because of Murray's injury? Yeah. I mean, they've had to make some changes. Because of the injuries. Sorry, not Murray.
because of the injuries and form. There are some decent players to come back in, but let's not lose sight. Every single side going into this World Cup next year, whether they're playing now or they're playing the Six Nations, the first team is not. There are going to be changes going into the World Cup. Eddie Jones needs to have strength in depth in every single position. Of course, there are probably going to be 12 of the team that you could probably pick, but you want to be one of those 3 that's going to challenge to the end. And I can only go from Paul and mine experience of 03. Yeah, their names now, but at the time you weren't necessarily thinking about Mike Tyndall, you weren't thinking about Ian Balshaw, you weren't thinking about even the Ben Cohen to a certain degree had a couple of years. Trevor Woodman. Ben Kay had only been playing a couple of years. Yeah, these things happen really, really fast. And so seeing them at this level is going to spark a lot of interest for Eddie Jones.
And we've done all of this build-up, Paul Grayson, without mentioning Manu Tuilagi.
Is he involved today? Has he made it from Thursday to Saturday? But I must admit, Chappers, a man with a preponderance for the occasional groin injury on a cold autumn day, sitting on the bench for 45 or 50 minutes to come on. I don't know whether it's a risk worth taking from an England point of view.
It was interesting, wasn't it, that when we heard from Eddie Jones, he was saying about Australia that they maybe been playing a few games in the build-up and England don't know who's going to be on the pitch for Australia, but it's been like that for Manu Tuilagi all autumn. I mean, England have just been in and out, and he's been fit, he's been not fit, he's been 99.99% but not 100% fit. It's been its own mini soap opera. So when he actually takes the field after 2.5 years, it's going to be worth watching, isn't it?
Get him on that bike on the touchline now to start warming up, I would suggest, ahead of coming on.
But a pre-match warm-up, Dorse will back me up on this, a pre-match warm-up when you're in the starting team is tremendously intense. It's very difficult as a sub to replicate that kind of intensity of warm-up.
The teams are just starting to leave the dressing rooms, and they will be out at Twickenham very shortly for England against Australia. Rugby Union this afternoon here on 5 Live Sport. Our usual goal service will be on 5 Live Sports Extra. Our base is going to be West Ham against Manchester City. Ian Dennis and Matthew Etherington providing the commentary. John Southall will keep us up to date here on 5 Live.
Where the teams are in the tunnel, the champions Manchester City unbeaten this season, 10 wins from 12. Are West Ham the team to stop them? Well, their personnel and formation suggest they'll give this a real go this afternoon, but City have scored 15 goals in their last 3 games and they're going to take some stopping.
Back to Murrayfield, Ian Carter.
And Argentina spurning the opportunity of levelling things up with an Emiliano Buffelli penalty from long range after a high tackle by Adam Hastings. So Scotland remain ahead here, but they're under pressure from Argentina. 23 minutes gone. Scotland 3, Argentina 0.
Time to bring you the final autumn international of November here on 5 Live Sport at Twickenham. And a big day as well on 5 Live with our correspondent Ian Robertson's final commentary for us. England against Australia with Ian, Paul Grayson, Matt Dawson and first of all, Chris Jones.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, England's autumn, something of a mixed bag so far. The result without the performance against South Africa, the performance without the result against New Zealand. But this afternoon could be decisive as to whether England bounce or stumble into World Cup year next year. They've won the last 5 against the Wallabies. Form would suggest they'll make it 6 in a row today. But Michael Cheika has promised Australia will finish their season with a performance full of pride and passion. The teams are in the tunnel. Jerusalem ringing around Twickenham. The flames, the fireworks, the sellout here at the home of English rugby as we wait for the two teams. And Paul Grayson, we ask this question at the same time almost every week. Do you want to see for England now the 80-minute performance, the kind of performance that puts the stake in the ground and says, right, this is a team that can really challenge?
That opening burst against New Zealand when England carried the ball strongly, Chris Ashton scored in the corner. That's the template for their game. It was fast, it was accurate, they've done their homework. They need to carry that through. If they can play like that you're not always going to be in control of the ball, but if they can play like that for the time that they're in possession, they're going to put Australia under immense pressure. So it is time to deliver. They've had a long time together, this group.
Team's just coming out of the tunnel here at Twickenham, walking past the Cook Cup, and it's going to be Will Genia who points to the sky, the Australian scrum half winning his 100th cap, and Genia and the rest of the Australian team wearing their indigenous jersey for only the second time in history, designed to represent the indigenous population back in Australia. Australia out to our right, England out to our left. And Matt Dawson, you said on your rugby show Thursday night, you're still waiting to see how this England team are going to play, what kind of style they're going to bring out this afternoon. Are there a few questions you want answered over the next couple of hours?
Yeah, well, I just want to find out their pattern. I want to have a glimpse of how they want to play with sustained periods and phases. Because at the moment we haven't seen, we've seen it in glimpses for a half, but given the conditions that they had against New Zealand and South Africa.
Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sports Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend.
Of the England midfield, against Australia, it's the perfect opportunity.
Chilly but dry here at Twickenham in southwest London. The two teams lined up ready for the anthems, and we'll start with Advance Australia Fair.
Listen to me on Talk Sport.
The UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. Talk Sport.
squad, and there's always something that little bit extra when Australia play at Twickenham. And Paul Grayson, it's been a tough year for the Wallabies. Is that going to give England a different kind of challenge, knowing that this is a Wallaby side who have their backs firmly against the wall?
Yeah, absolutely do. On and off the pitch, if your head coach is talking about disciplinary issues that have been let slip for a while, and talking about timings being off, people not being punctual, that's reflected in the way that you play. Australia are ill-disciplined on the field too. They give away a lot of penalties. Owen Farrell will punish them if they do that today.
England out to our left, playing from left to right, all in white. Australia in their indigenous green and gold. Green shorts, green socks.
And almost prepared to go. Our referee, John Moss, is in the centre circle. Him and his officials all in a very natty blue today. There's a huddle taking place amongst the Watford players. We will run you through the two teams. Watford lining up with Ben Foster in goal. It's Kiko Femina, Cathcart, Mariappa and Messina across the back. Hughes, Decore, Capu and Pereira in midfield, with Delafeu supporting Troy Deeney up top. As for Liverpool, Alisson's in goal. It's Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Lovren who replaces Gomez, who's injured, and Robertson at the back. Shaqiri, Henderson and Wijnaldum in midfield, with Salah, Firmino and...
And he's moved right up from the backfield, Paul Grayson, but perhaps expecting a little dink chip from Owen Farrell, who's preparing to kick us off as we wait for Jaco Piper, the referee's instruction.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Unfortunately, due to rights restrictions, we're...
Watford, Liverpool in that traditional all red, of course, from top to toe. And it's a long ball punted forward immediately here by Messina. Breaks towards Delafeu, and then Hughes at the edge of the penalty area tries to get there, but it comes to Alexander-Arnold on the right side of that Liverpool defence, and he'll punt the ball forward, which Firmino will chase after. But Ben Foster can clear from the edge of his penalty area. Finds the chest of Troy Deeney, who returns to the starting lineup for Watford today, having came on as a sub in that game against Southampton. That was following a hamstring injury. 350th senior start in league football today for Troy Deeney, as that's punted forward this time by Mariappa straight into touch on that far side, and the first throw of the game goes Liverpool's way, level with the edge of their own penalty area.
Just seeing, interesting, we spoke about before the game, Adam, Troy Deeney coming in and Dejan Lovren and how he might sort of adapt and slot into the side today. Hasn't played so little football, but Deeney's straight away almost pulling and playing on Dejan Lovren, so that quite obviously, you're going to want to try and keep the ball away from the left-hand side of the Liverpool defence, with Van Dijk being the stronger of the two centre-halves, I would say, but it's important that they get some decent quality up to their strikers, then the midfielders and wingers joining in to get the deliveries into the box for Deeney.
First free kick of the game is Watford's, for a high boot from Firmino, which catches Kiko on the nose. Watford's only Premier League home win in this fixture came in December 2015 by 3 goals to 0. Oh, here's Delafeu towards the edge of the penalty area. Delafeu with a shot, scores for Watford, but the flag has gone up late for offside against Gerard Delafeu. Well, he took a glance across as he picked the ball up, and there was no flag from the assistant on the far side. This looks like it could be a tight call, but he is just offside as Deeney flicks it on to Delafeu, and he really took his time, the assistant, before putting the flag up. The finish was crisp from the Spaniard, but it didn't count.
It was a wonderful finish, yeah, and it was a great little flick on through from Troy Deeney, just talking about that little link and partnership. Excellent finish, as you're saying. He almost turned immediately around to see if the linesman's flag had gone up, and it had. It was a very late decision, as you say, but wonderful finish, and a little warning sign for Liverpool that they can't switch off for 1 second against this bright Watford side.
Here's Alexander-Arnold into Shaqiri. Lovren out wide to Alexander-Arnold again on this near side, and Shaqiri is just hassled and harried by Troy Deeney, who concedes the throw-in on this right-hand side, which Liverpool take fairly quickly. They've won 4 of the last 5 Premier League meetings between these two sides, and when we talked about the likelihood of goals, there's been plenty of him in recent meetings, 19 in fact in the last 4 Premier League games, and Liverpool have netted 15 of those, so you would feel that they would have the advantage, and they certainly come into this as favourites, but defensively this season they have been so good. Just 5 goals conceded and another clean sheet today, and it will be their best start to any top flight campaign defensively in their history. On the right hand side is Lovren again for Liverpool. over halfway to Alexander-Arnold on this right-hand side. He goes forward to the feet of Mo Salah, who comes short. Now it's Firmino to Henderson, back to Firmino again, and in the centre circle is Wijnaldum. Will shift play out wide to that left-hand side. The Scottish captain, who's had a pretty good week with those victories over Albania and also Israel, that have seen his side promoted in the UEFA Nations League. That's Andy Robertson, of course, who's having a brilliant season as well for Liverpool as he tucks a ball round the corner for Sadio Mane to chase after. And in the end it runs out of play for what will be a goal kick to Watford away to our right-hand side.
Interesting just to see Watford, Adam, setting up how they're going to deal with that strike force of Liverpool's. You know, they've got Mo Salah, who just dropped in away from the deep from the Watford defence. It's interesting that none of the Watford defenders decided to go with him. He did have time and a bit of space to pick the ball up and turn and play from there, but they can't afford to give him too much room, because otherwise if he does start turning, running at them, it could cause them a huge amount of problem.
A reminder, we have got Manchester United and Manchester City also in action this afternoon, kicking off at 3 o'clock UK time. We'll keep you posted on those games as the goals go in. Also the fixtures down at Brighton, at Goodison Park, and also at Craven Cottage, which the man alongside me is certainly interested in. Let's put it that way.
Just a little bit.
Throwing on this left-hand side is going to be taken by Adam Messina, a new face, the Moroccan-born Italian in this Watford lineup, started 2 of the last 4. It's a third start then in 5 for him today, having made his debut against Manchester United. Coming in for Olivas, who's having a terrific season, but is missing today through a calf injury. He'll be a big miss for Watford. 5 minutes on the clock. 0-0. It's with Henderson inside the centre circle. To the right-hand side is Dejan Lovren on halfway. Busy international break for him, for Croatia. A victory against Spain, but then that defeat against England, which led to Croatia's relegation from the top level of that UEFA Nations League. Here is Lovren. He made his 50th appearance actually for his country in that game. Here's Shaqiri trying to slip a ball through to Mane, who continued his run, and Foster comes out to gather that well around the penalty spot, just as Firmino was looking to try and lurk and get an effort away on goal.
Yeah, nice play from Liverpool. Just an indication of how well they do play that 1- and 2-touch football. Great movement from Liverpool. Just getting a little bit unfortunate from Liverpool's perspective that it took a deflection off a Watford defender, but Ben Foster coming out nice and sharp, collecting that.
We mentioned, of course, the 2 Manchester clubs in action today as well. We've got the added bonus as well of 2 of the other big boys in London, Spurs and Chelsea, going head-to-head when we get underway in the late game today, of course, from Wembley. Spurs-Chelsea, 5:30 UK time. Here's Robertson coming forward for Liverpool. Left-footed ball in towards Mo Salah, who was just trying to get on the end of that one again, but Foster is big and strong, and the 35-year-old will come and collect that quite comfortably.
It's a well-timed run, great ball in from Robertson on from the left-hand side. It's one of those deliveries into the box that really asks questions of a goalkeeper. Are you brave enough to come and collect it? Would have been interesting if it was a striker who had a little bit more of a physical presence than a Mo Salah.
Poor defensive header from Lovren has just allowed Watford to build something here, with Kiko on that right-hand side being harried and hassled by Mane, and illegally, according to the referee in the end, and the free kick goes the way of Watford, 5 or 6 yards inside the Liverpool half. He's been another one who's had a busy international break, on duty for Senegal, qualifying, of course, for the African Cup of Nations. A few have been away in those key fixtures, and it will certainly hinder this Liverpool side in parts when the African Cup of Nations takes place. It's flicked back towards Alexander-Arnold. Infield he'll go to Virgil van Dijk. He's been a colossal since he joined Liverpool. The difference he's made to that back line is quite extraordinary. 13 clean sheets since he made his Premier League debut. He made the real difference in the back end of the season to Liverpool. And certainly in this campaign so far, they've been so sound defensively, and I think he and the goalkeeper Alisson will take the credit for that.
Oh, for sure, Adam. Haven't seen him play for some time at Southampton. You can just see the pure class that Lovren. Lovren was good at Southampton, whilst he was at Southampton as well, but certainly not to the degree of how good Van Dijk was. The man just seems to be playing in a gear that is, he's got so much more class and ability at times.
Oh, they've given it away here though at the back. Liverpool. Here's Deulofeu inside the penalty area, and Van Dijk has to intervene, and that was all the fault of Alisson. And the guys at the back just overplaying too much. We're sitting here singing their praises, and at the same time they're being sloppy and almost giving Watford a chance.
It's exactly that, Adam. There's a difference between confident and sloppy, and on that occasion they just overstepped the mark for sure.
Salah does well, gets it in towards Shaqiri, but he's just muscled out the way by Capoue, pushing it to the right hand side where he finds Hughes. Deulofeu had gone when Hughes played the ball. A little misunderstanding between those two. Game just opening up a little now. Here's Shaqiri being chased all the way by Capoue again, gets it to Wijnaldum on halfway. He scored more goals for the Dutch team than he has for Liverpool this season as Gigi Wijnaldum, but he did finally get that away goal in the Premier League in that victory against Spurs at Wembley. And here is Wijnaldum again, slipping it through towards Salah at the edge of the penalty area. Lovely turn from him. Salah still going, lays off to Firmino at the edge of the penalty area. A little bit slow to respond, the Brazilian, and it allows Watford a chance to clear.
It's an open game, Adam. Both sides sort of having chances. Liverpool a little bit sloppy with Alisson, as we saw a couple of moments ago, but certainly a threat going forward as well. Creative. We know they've got that attacking talent, but Watford are doing their best to shut down, put Liverpool under pressure. Seem to be defending quite deep, but
lovely early ball in that has to be dealt with at the back that time by Cathcart, picked up here by Mo Salah, in towards Alexander-Arnold, who can't get there, and it's cleared away by Messina, and then inside the area again with Pereira, and Watford now being dangerous. They've given it to Shaqiri towards the corner flag, tries to lay a ball into Salah again. It's intercepted, should I say, and away by Pereira, up as far as Deeney. Lovely touch of skill, on from Deulofeu. That's brilliant from Watford and from Deeney, outside of the right boot though, and his early ball in, looking for the run of Will Hughes, is intercepted by Andrew Robertson, and it's back to Alisson, and Liverpool can get it clear. What a bit of skill from Watford.
Oh, tremendous little play from Deeney into Deulofeu. It's just a shame when it went back to Deeney that was out wide and outnumbered. He certainly wasn't going to sprint past the Liverpool defenders, and his pass just was a little bit short, looking for his teammate on the right hand side.
Very open game, end to end stuff at this moment in time. 0-0, 10 minutes gone. Watford with possession midway inside their own half. Took 4 points off Watford last season. That 3-3 draw on the opening day of last season here, where it really was a late goal. Britos in stoppage time making it 3-3, but then when they met at Anfield, Liverpool just swept them aside. 4 goals that day for Mo Salah. Our monitors were just getting a replay of what Alisson was trying to do, giving the ball to Firmino, who was the player that was 10 yards outside his own box, that almost just let Watford in through the back door.
Bizarre ball to almost be given him. One, to see him in that position in the first place, Firmino, but being so tightly marked, and then a pretty sloppy pass from Alisson. So yeah, something that his teammates won't relish and appreciate, getting the ball in that area of the pitch when they're under so much pressure.
Watford more than mixing it here with Liverpool on halfway. It's Doucouré just giving it out wide to Hughes. Hughes on the charge down the right hand side. He's got the support he wanted from Kiko. Short is Doucouré, goes back towards halfway, just keeping the ball. Helped on its way to Cathcart by Mariappa, and now on this near side to Messina. Coming short is Pereira. He's having a good start to the campaign, is Roberto Pereira. Only won one of his 5 career appearances against Liverpool though. Kiko charging forward in towards Deulofeu, who can't find him. Read and cleared at the back by Virgil van Dijk, and out for another Watford throw on the right hand side. Goal already at the London Stadium between West Ham and Man City. Ross Powell.
Fernandinho plays the ball across to Walker. City driving forward now. He's got Sterling as an option midway inside the half as they come up towards the heart of the penalty box. It's Sterling in the box. It bounces loose. It's Silva, and that is 1-0 to Manchester City. A great breakaway move from the champions, and Raheem Sterling feeding in David Silva. It was a simple clip into the net.
City off and running, no great surprise. Liverpool needing to win here to really keep up the heat. There's a 2-point gap between those sides at the moment, of course, with Manchester City leading the way, and they're off and running against West Ham this afternoon. Goalless here with 12.5 on the clock, and Liverpool in possession.
You can see the confidence Watford are playing with, Adam, can't you? No surprise to see them trying to play their way out, confident and zipping the ball around. There's just been a couple of occasions where the ball's gone into Deulofeu, where he's spun to look to get the ball in behind, and his teammates have looked to try and play the ball into feet. So a couple of occasions where they've just had a little misunderstanding. Just got to try and get on the same wavelength again a little bit, just to try and retain the ball a little bit longer than what they have done.
Throwing on this near side, which Alexander-Arnold will take midway inside the Watford half. Is controlled by Shaqiri, comes out to Deulofeu, who's done well because he shrugged off a couple of challenges, still got the ball at feet, the former Barca man, and then his pass is wavered out wide on that right hand side, and it's into the dugout and a throw for Liverpool, just inside Watford territory. Liverpool are 8 points better off than they were at this stage last season. The key fact in that, though, is they've conceded 12 less goals. I would say that would make those 8 points, probably those 12 goals, the difference throughout the campaign. And if they ended the season like that, who knows where it could bring them. Here is Wijnaldum on this near side, still of course chasing that first ever Premier League title. Alexander-Arnold on this right hand side, infield to Salah, back to Shaqiri at the edge of the box, just tries to take it down and find Firmino at the edge of the penalty area, can't do it. Watford get it clear, but only as far as Van Dijk, who has possession on halfway as Liverpool come forward again down this right hand side. It's with Dejan Lovren, started 4 of the last 6 games, his only Premier League appearances of the season for Dejan Lovren. Oh, that's a silly slip on that far side by Andrew Robertson, and it's out of play for what will be a throw into Watford midway inside their own half as we approach the quarter hour mark.
Yeah, just a little mistake from Robertson. I think he was in a good position to receive the ball, but just slightly took his eye off it for a split second, and it was enough with the pace on the ball to just catch him out pretty quickly, roll under his foot, go out for a throw into Watford. Away from home, Liverpool have been impressive early on in this campaign as ever, as you probably would know. Tottenham are the only side who've won more points away from home so far this season. They have already been to Chelsea and Arsenal, Liverpool, and they've come away unscathed. 0-0 draw, of course, at home against Manchester City as well. So they've played 3 of the top sides already, and they still find themselves second in the table, and unbeaten so far this Premier League campaign. Henderson, who shrugged off that hamstring problem that restricted him in his time away with England. Lovely ball bent into the penalty area, looking for Salah, who made the run. He's tracked all the way by Mariappa, and it's safely into the arms of Ben Foster, away to our right hand side. Here is Decore, those long legs closed down immediately by Firmino, back as far as Van Dijk. Van Dijk out wide to that left hand side, where it's picked up here by Wijnaldum. Now an opportunity for Van Dijk again, with time on the ball for Liverpool inside their own half. Forward down that left hand side. Wijnaldum has it, has support from Robertson. They'll go back to Van Dijk again. We'll be going to the Amex shortly, where there's been another early goal already. Of course, Man City up against West Ham at the London Stadium. Brighton playing Leicester today. We'll be joining Martin Hopkins shortly, but Liverpool at the moment just trying to work an attacking position on that left hand side with Sadio Mane. Mane then will just go back inside his own half again to Robertson. Van Dijk, who's probably had more touches of the ball than anyone in this game so far. Yeah, him and Lovren have seen an awful lot of the ball. Watford happy to sit off them and let them play the ball at the back, but it's just when they retain it, or when they do win the ball back, it's just trying to get that quality into their wingers. Here's Deulofeu on the left hand side for Watford, on his left foot, tries to get the early ball in. It's off of Alexander-Arnold, and behind and out of play for what will be a corner to Watford, the first of the game, on this left hand side. Exactly what we were just talking about there. When they do win the ball, Watford, there's a couple of occasions they just couldn't find Deulofeu or Deeney up the front, but on that occasion, better play from Watford gives them the opportunity to bring Cathcart and Mariappa up now. Looks like they're going to do that as well. Only kept 3 clean sheets so far in the Premier League this season, so they do concede goals, but they also have a habit of scoring them, and some from set pieces. But they've worked this one into a more central area. Left-footed ball chipped forward and wasted into the arms of Alisson, away to our left-hand side, who immediately is looking to set Liverpool away here with a huge kick downfield towards Mo Salah, who's trying to get the better of Messina. Messina's done really well though, and just worked it up this left-hand touchline. Nice bit of play, lovely control infield to Capoue. Capoue then now again wide on this left-hand side, finds Messina once more. They do have an overlap in that Deulofeu's there, and then he chips the ball into touch and out of play for a throw to Liverpool. To the Amex we go then. Brighton-Leicester, Martin Hopkins.
In the rain, here it comes, left-footed in swinger, into the near post, there's a chance and it's a goal, and it's Glenn Murray. He's broken the deadlock for the Seagulls.
Glenn Murray on target then for Brighton at home. 0-0, 18 minutes played. Here's Firmino, up towards Mo Salah. Salah in towards the feet of Sadio Mane. Out wide to this near side, Shaqiri's just going to pick up that loose ball, but just overran it a little. On his left foot, though, he swings one in towards the back post, and Foster looked like he wasn't going to get to. Salah was coming round the corner, but the fingertips of Big Ben have put it behind for another corner as danger was chiming for Watford.
It was indeed. It was, not really a too dangerous a ball whipped in from Shaqiri into Foster's box, but especially the height that it came in, you'd imagine he'd come out sort of quite comfortably to deal with that, but certainly made a little bit more of a meal of it than what it should have done, and it's gone out for a Liverpool corner.
First corner then for Liverpool. It's on their left-hand side. Van Dijk, his only goal so far came in the FA Cup against Everton. It was a winning goal as well. Shaqiri with the outswinger on his left foot here, almost a sideways run as he gets that towards the near post. Lovren tries to take it down, cleared away by Deeney, hacked into touch on this near side for a throw to Liverpool.
Up until that moment, Adam, I'd say Watford looked, pretty solid, pretty comfortable. You can see that they've been working on a game plan and a strategy to sort of take Liverpool on and how they were going to defend against them. It's quite evident that they're not going to try and press the back four of Liverpool, which is why we've seen Van Dijk and Lovren have plenty of time and touches on the ball so far, but they look solid. It's just when they do make that decision to go and press or win the ball back, to then try and counter-attack and sort of get the quality up to the strikers Delafeu and Deeney.
Almost 20 minutes played. Watford 0, Liverpool 0. Here comes Virgil van Dijk in short to Mane, who comes short to collect possession. Mane has it once more, going back again to Van Dijk, and now out wide to the left-hand side where Robertson has himself a little bit of space. Infield he goes, where he finds Henderson. Henderson to halfway. Lovren. To the right is Alexander-Arnold, closed down by Delafeu immediately. Sorry, it's Wijnaldum on this near side. Alexander-Arnold's slightly further ahead. Lovren, though, will just go once more to Wijnaldum. Now to Firmino. Nice touch from him, taking him away from two. Firmino still going towards the edge of the box into the feet of Shaqiri. Not the best of touches, but not the best of passes either. And Watford will look to counter here with Delafeu on this near side, trying to get the better of Lovren, who gets it back to Alisson. A couple of bounces, and the Brazilian will just find Van Dijk at the edge of the penalty area. Let's get to Craven Cottage. Fulham against Southampton. Adam Inca
knocked out of play for a throw-in line with the 18-yard box. It's inside Fulham's penalty area. Here's Armstrong. Armstrong gets the volley away and makes it 1-0 to Southampton.
Very impressive Stuart Armstrong for Scotland during the international break, and another goal elsewhere in London at the London Stadium. West Ham and Man City, Ross Powell.
Only as far as Kyle Walker, across to Fabian Delph. Silva across onto this near side to Sane on the edge of the penalty area. Sane taking on Zabaleta. Sane going down towards the byline, into the box. It's 2-0. It's Raheem Sterling, and that was all too easy, really.
2-0 then to Man City, already flowing today. Kiko Firmino on that far side. He and Hughes combine brilliantly. Lovely touch from Will Hughes, taking on Robertson. Gets it out from under his feet and finds Delafeu. Edge of the Liverpool penalty area. They just force back a little to Doucouré, who lays it down the line again to Hughes. Hughes slips it into Delafeu around the back. Gets the crossover. Falls at around the penalty spot towards Pereira, but it's cleared by Alexander-Arnold. Only as far as Capoue. Capoue's given it away with a pass to Henderson. Easily intercepted. Here come Liverpool. Henderson away, trying to let Solar after it, but it'll be picked up by Cathcart, and Cathcart goes back to Foster, who will clear first time up towards halfway. Lovely control by Pereira, and he just gets bundled over then by Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's Watford's free kick.
Good opportunity for Watford. Good play initially on the right hand side from Hughes. Great little skill. He's done it a few times to skip past Robertson, and Watford managing to get the ball into the box, but Liverpool defending the ball quite well. But likewise, when they counter-attacked, Watford dealing with through Cathcart, seeing the danger away as Mo Salah was trying to get on the end of the clearance. Both teams are looking pretty strong defensively at the moment, but without really opening either one side or the other up with the attacking play at this moment.
Shaqiri over the top, Salah's after it, Foster's out to the edge of his box and beyond, and just volleys it away. And I tell you what, as sweeper keepers go, he's made an impressive start in the opening quarter of this game.
Good clearance. He's obviously had his starting position spot on, recognised the danger, and he was brave as well, coming out to clear that danger. Just put it in the stands, regroup, reset.
Shaqiri is fouled 15 yards outside the Watford penalty area by Doucouré. And it's going to be a free kick here to Liverpool. Wijnaldum has spotted it, and Shaqiri will be the player who will deliver too far out for a shot, but certainly an opportunity to load the big boys in.
Certainly will be, Adam. Yeah, it's sort of a needless foul in many ways. But Shaqiri stood over it. And he's looking like to whip it in with his left foot. We've seen a few balls go into Foster's box already where he's come out and he's been a little uncertain on a few occasions, so again may give Liverpool an opportunity to ask some questions.
Alexander-Arnold's in there too, but Shaqiri bends it in, and it was almost a flick from Wijnaldum, but it's straight into the arms of Ben Foster. The most dangerous of balls to try and defend.
But there was no Watford defender that really stayed with Wijnaldum, and not enough anyway. He gets a little touch on it, I think, but it's straight into Foster's hands. Great opportunity for Liverpool to have taken the lead. Probably should have done an awful lot better than what he actually did.
Perfect ball from Shaqiri, wasn't it, from where he landed it, the weight and the direction. Just needed a bit more of a touch, and he's pinged one out there to Sadio Mane on that far side, but it's well over him, and it'll be a throw to Watford, level with the penalty spot on that right hand side. The goals then we've had so far this afternoon: Brighton 1, Leicester 0, it's Everton 0, Cardiff 0, Fulham 0, Southampton 1, Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 0, and West Ham 0, Manchester City 2. We've had 24 minutes of the first half at Vicarage Road. It's Watford 0, Liverpool 0. And a reminder, if you would like to get in touch, at TalkSport Live on Twitter, if you would like to join in our conversation this afternoon. We'd love to know where you're listening, what you're up to. You can send us some pictures as well. Plus, of course, if you get following, you'll get all the goal news and the football news straight to your Twitter feed. At TalkSport Live on Twitter, if you'd like to get in touch. Early ball in here from Wijnaldum after a decent run, and Foster's come and collected that, and he's clattered Cathcart, I think, in the process, or one of his defenders in the process. I've just seen Cathcart come across, so it's definitely not him. I think it may be Kiko Firmino who he's caught there. Foster again in a Superman-like pose. He caught that with his fist and has taken his player out as well. It's one of those things, unfortunately, if your own teammates do get in the way of it, it does sometimes happen. It was a decent ball in from Wijnaldum, and whether there was a shout or not from Foster, I don't know, but it was a very much like Superman effort to come out and punch the danger clear. He's dealt with it pretty well, but he's clattered his own defender in the process. Certainly has. 20 minutes remaining in this half, when I think it's all 6'5" of Ben Foster clatters into you. You certainly know you've been hit, and Kiko is face down on the Vicarage Road turf at this moment in time. It's allowing Javi Gracia a chance. And he's caught him right on the side of the head with his midriff there, and he went straight to ground. No surprise. Luckily he's moved around and he is now sat up. The physio's in attendance. As I say, Javi Gracia just taking a moment to chat to Gerard Deulofeu, probably about some of the movement and the opportunities they've had in the opening 26 minutes of this game. I mean, the one thing that stands out, apart from that free kick from Shaqiri, no real clear opportunities yet for Liverpool.
No, not at all. There's been a few dangerous balls into the box, which Foster's dealt with one way or another. So one or two occasions, not too convincingly, but you would say Watford, on the whole, have dealt with Liverpool's attacking threat pretty well, and they could have been a one-up. Probably the right decision on the offside call that the assistant made, but certainly in the first couple of minutes, Watford could easily have been one-up right from the start of the game.
Final ball's just not quite dropping for either side in the opening exchanges of this match. It'll be a drop ball from referee John Moss. A reminder coming up once we're done today, the big game of the weekend, Tottenham against Chelsea from Wembley. That's underway 5:30 UK time. Plenty of time left in this, and our other 3 o'clock kickoffs UK time this afternoon for you as well, as Ben Foster just punts that into the late afternoon sky around Vicarage Road, a grey old sky as well. Liverpool dominating possession in the opening 27 minutes, but neither side with anything to show so far. 0-0. Van Dijk up towards halfway. Long ball out wide to this right hand side. Nice pass to pick out Trent Alexander-Arnold. Infield he goes to Shaqiri on that left foot of his from the right hand side, so always bending a ball into the penalty area, headed away by Hughes. He was trying to find Robertson that time. Hughes has done really well there to win his side the throw on that far side. He's an impressive character, Will Hughes. There was a little doubt through injury for him playing in today's fixture, but he's become a real first choice player here at Watford. As I say, he's started the last 20 Premier League games now since his move, of course, previously from Derby. He was kind of overlooked for a while, but Javi Gracia has certainly taken him under his wing, and he's an integral part of this Watford side. Here come Liverpool on the far side with Firmino, a player who's out of form at the moment, but Mane's done the work for him there to win that back, and then feeds Robertson in the penalty area. Salah, but he goes once more towards Henderson. Henderson back to halfway, where it's picked up by Dejan Lovren. Too much pressure on Lovren so far in this game. Here is Wijnaldum to Shaqiri. Shaqiri back to Wijnaldum again, and once more it's Lovren inside the centre circle, looking to come forward once more. Liverpool down the right, all in red, kicking from left to right in this opening 45 minutes, and at this moment in time just happy to kick the ball and stroke it around. Again, Firmino's dropped deep. He's almost dropped in between the two centre halves to pick up some possession.
So deep, Adam, isn't it? So deep. I think it's an indication of how little of the ball both Firmino, Salah, Mane are getting in the attacking third.
Here's Wijnaldum trying to take it on, but the first touch had too much on it, and it's cleared by Doucouré at the edge of the penalty area, but not well for Watford this time, although they have won it back here with Deulofeu and Pereira. Helped on his way to Deulofeu. Referee says play on after Doucouré was short. He's bought to Deeney too much though on it from the Spaniard. It's a thumbs up from Troy Deeney, but he didn't get that one.
Well, if it is just not hits quite so heavy, that pass into Deeney, if he's in space, he's in behind Lovren, would have had a chance of racing in on Ellison's goal. Good opportunity, just overhit slightly. That's where they've got to take that little bit more care when they do win the ball back, especially once they've been defending for periods of time. They're using energy and concentration up, they're trying to win the ball back. Crucial that they keep it when they win it.
Javi Gracia and Jurgen Klopp just having an exchange of views. I think when you're half an hour into a game featuring Liverpool and you see there's not been one attempt on goal from either side, it's quite surprising really.
Defence is on top.
They are indeed. Henderson in towards Salah, who gets a knockdown in the box. He was looking for Firmino, but again it was more hopeful than anything. Here is Henderson again, going back inside his own half to Virgil van Dijk. Hi to Jamie Wallace, who's been in touch on Twitter at TalkSport Live. He's listing from a beach in the Dominican Republic. Oh, poor you, Jamie. But he'd rather be at Vicarage Road, where it's cold and windy and 0-0.
It looks absolutely beautiful there.
He has tweeted us a picture. Yeah, terrible. Those blue skies, palm trees, and sand. I mean, who would want that when you can have Watford? Here is Alexander Arnold on the right hand side. Goes back in field. I've already got myself into trouble today by insulting Rotherham while I was talking to one of our partner stations earlier. So I'm not going to slate Watford. Although when my train goes through and doesn't generally stop there, I'm always quite happy because it's a slightly quicker journey home, let's put it that way. Here is Lovren out to the left-hand side where he finds Van Dijk, who's really advanced. He's midway inside the Watford half there, and Henderson will just ping a ball now to the right edge of the penalty area. Lovely volley across from Alexander Arnold, and the header away is quite comfortable that time from Kiko Firmino on that far side. Watford try and turn defence into attack, and the groans are because again it's a long ball punting forward from the back by Watford that's into no man's land and gives Liverpool possession back. 31 minutes play. Here's Wijnaldum down the right hand side to Alexander Arnold, chips that into Shaqiri, back to Alexander Arnold, 25 yards out, goes square, finds Henderson, now Robertson, tight on that left hand edge of the penalty area, gives it to Firmino. Firmino then tries to turn, he's got 3 yellow shirts around him, unloads it to Henderson to the edge of the box. Alexander Arnold's there, intervention from Deeney, thought it might be with his hand but nothing doing. Lovely touch from Pereira to take him away from Wijnaldum. Now he's on the charge forward, the Argentinian goes through Lovren and then he's pulled up for a shove, and that's going to be a free kick to Liverpool. They want to take quickly, but Roberto Pereira is denying them the opportunity.
What Watford have been doing well, Adam, is on their defensive side is they've been solid at the back as a four, but they've also had Capoue and Doucouré who have sort of bring that protection in front of them, shuffling across when they need to, whenever Liverpool move the ball. Maybe Liverpool need to move the ball a little bit wider and in between the lines a little bit sharper and crisper than what they have done, but all credit to Watford, they've defended extremely well so far.
Here's Van Dijk again for Liverpool, seeing so much of the ball. 32 minutes played, Watford 0, Liverpool 0. Up towards Salah, who tried to hold off the close attentions of Messina and also Deeney, but in the end it's Messina that can get it forward with that left foot of his. Just bends it in, looking to try and find Deulofeu, but he loses out in the air to Lovren, which you can probably imagine. Here's Salah, claims he's caught from behind as he rolls over by Messina, and the free kick is given. A couple of yards outside the penalty area, a couple of yards in from this right-hand touchline.
Well, it'd be no surprise to see Shaqiri, address this ball again. Again, a needless, silly foul in some ways. Salah's just out near the touchline, sort of well out away from the Watford goal. No need to sort of make the kind of challenge. It just gives Liverpool the opportunity now to bring Lovren up, bring Van Dijk up, and most likely Shaqiri trying to whip that in-swinger in towards Ben Foster's goal again.
Really is Shaqiri territory, this one. Alexander-Arnold's there as well, maybe for the outswinger with his right foot. There's two in the Watford wall, Mayardini and Deulofeu, and it is Alexander-Arnold who strikes the wall, and then Hughes, who gets it out towards Deeney, who tries to punt it on, and now there's a chase on here which Deulofeu was leading, but Henderson gets across and manages to feed it back to his Brazilian goalkeeper away to our left-hand side. The best of deliveries from Alexander-Arnold. Another goal at Craven Cottage for Adam Inca.
Linking up well with Le Marchand, who burst forward on the left. His cross, Mitrovic header, creeps into the back of the net from 6 yards. An equaliser from Fulham. It's the first time that they've combined in that way.
First goal for the Claudio Ranieri reign at Craven Cottage then, and he's got Mitrovic firing again. 11 minutes remaining. Watford 0, Liverpool 0 in this first half. Here it's one apiece in that game at Craven Cottage. Brighton leading Leicester by a goal to 0, and West Ham trailing at home against Manchester City by 2 goals to 0. Henderson finds Van Dijk on halfway. Henderson will just turn and right-footed pings the ball towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for Salah. A little touch from Cathcart means that Messina will need to deal with it by the corner flag, which he does. First time left-footed, and he's done well because he found Deulofeu with a nice touch. Hughes then tries to set Deulofeu away again, but lucky, maybe fortuitous touch from Lovren just took it away from the Spaniard and safely to Virgil van Dijk. As Liverpool look to come forward again, we'll go to the London Stadium. Another goal for Ross Powell.
Fernandinho clips the ball across it's in across to Leroy Sané. Sané turns, Sané makes it 3-0. 33 minutes on the clock, and this is turning into a procession. Lovely build-up play from Manchester City, a lovely cross into the box from Sterling, and he was left to turn around his West Ham marker and straight into the net.
3-0 to Man City. West Ham being taken to school this afternoon, it would seem. Manuel Pellegrini not quite having the answers to stop his former side as they continue. And I don't know, the last couple of weeks they just look like they found themselves in absolute top gear at Manchester City. Here is Henderson, early ball forward towards the edge of the box, headed out again by Cathcart. It's quite sloppy at times from both sides in terms of early balls being easily intercepted. Not the quality you would expect from either.
No, I think the way the game's gone, Adam, Liverpool resulted to playing these longer, more hopeful balls up, being a little bit more direct, trying to get some joy, because so far Watford have dealt with all the shorter movement and passing that Liverpool have thrown at them so far pretty well.
Robertson on that far side tries to go through Capoue, but it's blocked off, and it's a throw which is taken quickly by the Scotsman to halfway, where it's collected by Henderson. Here's Van Dijk for Liverpool. Now wide again to Henderson on that left hand side. Back once more to Henderson. Wijnaldum's in the centre circle. It's been a funny old season for Jordan Henderson, only his 6th Premier League start today. Missed games in October and November because of that hamstring injury that we mentioned earlier. No longer with the arrival of Fabinho and Keita. I think he feels like he's that top dog in that midfield anymore, and the form of James Milner as well has probably dictated some of that. Here is Wijnaldum shifting it to the right hand side, where he finds Alexander-Arnold level with the edge of the penalty area. Here's Xherdan Shaqiri on his left foot, bends one to Robertson, who's arrived on the left edge of the box. Lovely ball from Shaqiri, and then Robertson's just punted that in the air and over the top of Foster's goal, and out of play for a goal kick away to our right hand side.
Well, what a shame for Liverpool. It is again Shaqiri, who's been at the centre of most of Liverpool's attacks. He's picked him out, that left-footed crossfield pass, great little run from Robertson in behind the Watford defence, but his cross into the box was poor, going straight behind Ben Foster's goal. Got to be better on that on the final delivery.
I knew I'd get told off. Robin Redshanks on Twitter, don't knock Watford, he says, as if I was knocking it. I just said I like it when my train doesn't stop there. His best ever female friend lives there, and they have some very nice pubs and decent beer, which you won't find in Brazil. I'd still counter, I'd rather go to Brazil than Watford.
Well, the weather's certainly better in Brazil than it is in Watford at the moment.
I think it's very easy when you're when you're elsewhere enjoying sunshine to reminisce about places where it's pretty chilly and overcast and nearly dark, but there we go. We've got 7 minutes left of really uneventful first half at Vicarage Road. I may be being a little more enthusiastic had this game been a little brighter and what we'd expected it to be, but at the moment it's very scrappy, particularly from the champions, people who want to chase the champions now.
Well, we've got to look at Liverpool's front three to think Salah, Firmino, Mane. They've been very, very quiet in this, but that's to the credit of Watford.
Here's Firmino though in the box with a chance. Good save by Foster. Snapshot from Firmino, who looks as though he fancied that into the far corner. Plenty of power on it from around about 16 yards out and a tight angle, and Foster made a decent stop.
It was a decent stop indeed. Very good save.
Oh, here comes Deulofeu up the other end into Pereira! Beaten away by Alisson. Much better from Watford as he hit that with the outside of his left foot and it looked like it was bending into the corner, and Alisson puts it out for a corner.
Well, we've gone from seeing one save at one end of the pitch through Ben Foster to Watford breaking and going up the other end, and what a wonderful save. I mean, it's a nice sort of height for Alisson, I must admit. It's a good opportunity for Watford though. Just games come to life again for a little bit, just for a split second to what we have witnessed so far.
Here is the corner to be delivered on the right-hand side this time for Watford, their second of the game, and it's going to be swung over by Adam Messina. Well, that left foot of his, he doesn't, they've gone for a short one. You can hear the grumblings around the stadium. It's towards Deeney. Alisson punches not convincingly, comes to Capoue inside the area, but it's cleared by Liverpool, back in by Messina. Capoue wins the first header. Hughes is then going to battle for it with Wijnaldum. It's just out-muscled actually by the Dutchman. It's up towards Salah. He can't get there, but he does pick up the ball now and sets Mane through. Mane edge of the penalty area. Sadio Mane with a chance. Pereira's back there defending as Firmino arrives, and the Argentinian will get it clear on this near side for Watford. Not very far though, because he's been tracked all the way by Henderson. Foster became an option, and then it's chipped out up to this near side where Deeney picks it up. Helps on its way towards Deulofeu, but too much on it, and out for a throw-in on this near side.
Well, you wondered why Watford sort of almost chose not to put the ball in the box from one end, but I think it's Cathcart, is it? It's wonderful defending. As soon as you see Mane get one-on-one with the defender, you think there's probably only going to be one outcome here, and that's going to be Mane burning the defender for pace and skill possibly, and ended up with getting a shot in on goal at least. But Cathcart defended fantastically there to get a little challenge in and see the danger away.
There's a bit of a debate breaking out on our Twitter feed now actually about the benefits of Watford. Apparently someone wrote a book about the Draper of Watford it was. Oh, here's a chance for Mane. Good save by Foster. We'll have more Watford chat in a minute, but Foster has palmed that round. Again, Liverpool going direct. On this occasion, it nearly paid off.
Well, I think we've got both goalkeepers for both teams. Thankful to keep this game at 0-0 at the moment. Both making good saves. It was good play from Mane. Good first touch, getting his shot in. But Foster making a good save to push it wide for a corner.
Shaqiri on this near side again will deliver the corner. Well, he's just done the arms up and then the arms down to the ground, which I assume is code for something for Liverpool. It's a left footer. It's going to be swung into the 6-yard area here from Shaqiri to the back post. Salah's arriving. Great save, Foster. Low down to his right-hand side. It was a plan. Mo Salah arriving at the back post, completely unchallenged, powered the header downwards, but Foster was equal to it.
Well, who would have possibly called that? It's definitely one off the training ground. Lovren, Van Dijk, Wijnaldum, they've all ran in towards the 6-yard box, and it was Mo Salah who's sort of on the edge of the 18-yard box, coming round at the far post, gets a great little downward header in, but once again, Ben Foster with a wonderful save.
He's been brilliant so far in these 42 minutes, hasn't he?
Oh, outstanding. Both goalkeepers have. They've done their jobs when they've been called upon, but none more so than Ben Foster for Watford.
Really clever move though from Liverpool, nearly paid off. Still 0-0, 3 minutes to go to half time. Here come Watford again. Pereira on this near side, short to Messina, little touch in field. Now Firmino's going after it. The charge from Mariappa, who just blasted it onto his back, and it cannons all the way to Foster away to our right. So as I was saying, yes, there is a bit of a debate going. Robin again has given us some trivia, but then Jamie, who is the man in the Dominican Republic, has come back and said, I'm also from Watford, I'd like to know where these nice pubs are. So I think we'll leave the debate there. We won't knock Watford anymore. In fact, we'll see if they can find a goal before half time in this game. It's 0-0. Did you remember playing at Vicarage Road? Was it always nice?
I do. I don't really remember getting too much joy from playing up there, to be honest. So yeah, it wasn't the happiest of hunting grounds for me.
Didn't go and drown your sorrows in any of these nice pubs afterwards?
Well, I'm a non-drinker, Adam, so yeah, I would have been straight on the bus eating, sipping my water and Lucasade.
I should have known that, really, shouldn't I? You don't end up looking like you if you're having the odd pint. That's how it works. And we've got a new challenge coming soon. You've been a bit quiet.
Yes, it's been some time since my last one, and there will be one next year.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. Exclusive news about Franny Benali and another one of his crazy challenges. I can't think of any other word to describe them, really. 90 seconds left in this first half. 0-0. And we're getting the old covering the face while they give instructions here from Messina to Hughes. Chance for Watford here from this free kick then. 10 yards inside the Liverpool half. Again, it's taken short. Listen to the groans around the stadium. It's Capoue. Here's Messina. Messina now with a chance to deliver. Deeney's making the run. He's looked out for Deeney. It's come round the back to Cathcart in the end. Cathcart, who scored the winning goal against Spurs here, will try and put it in. But Henderson, the Liverpool captain, blocks it out for a corner to Watford on that right-hand side with a minute remaining in the half.
I'm really surprised, Adam, that Watford seemed to have a refusal to want to put the ball in behind the Liverpool defence on set pieces. I saw Watford at Southampton a couple of weeks back. They look a threat. They've got the players in there that can cause problems. Yes, Liverpool got good defenders, but put the ball in there. Ask that question of the Liverpool defence. Mix it up a little bit. Don't just be predictable doing the same thing all the time.
Brighton lead Leicester by a 1-0. Fulham 1, Southampton 1, West Ham 0, Man City 3. The only goals in the first half of our Premier League games this afternoon. Goalless here at Vicarage Road. 30 seconds to half time. It's been drilled across by Messina. Don't think he meant to do that. It's kept alive here. Here's Capoue. First time he tries one, then slips it through a second time, and Delafeu's offside by a merry mile. No great surprise there. As we enter the last few seconds of the first half, not been too well. There was a little stoppage, of course, for that problem with Kiko earlier, so maybe a couple of minutes of added time from referee John Moss as Liverpool go in search of the opening goal of this game. A long ball forward by Alexander-Arnold. Salah out wide to this near side, Shaqiri down the line, offside flag against Firmino, and there's a minute of added time, and we've already had 10 seconds.
Well, I asked the question why Watford seem to refuse to put the ball in the box direct sometimes from a free kick or corner, and judging by Messina's effort on that last one, that might be the answer why. Not particularly good delivery in the box. That'd be frustrating from, if you're a teammate's perspective out on the pitch, looking for an opportunity to get the ball into a dangerous area. But I think overall, Gracia will be pretty happy seeing his side going in at 0-0.
Yep, I don't think either side's probably worthy of the lead. Both keepers have done what they've needed to. A couple of showpiece saves from either of them as Mane punts the ball forward. And it's collected by Foster, almost at the edge of his penalty area. Almost half-time then. I'm sure that will be it. And Foster just taking his time about this, and I'm sure when it's in the air, John Moss will blow his whistle. He's not even going to wait. He's going to let Ben Foster keep hold of it. A first half that flattered to deceive at times, picked up towards the end, but it's goalless. Watford 0, Liverpool 0. There's been a late goal at Craven Cottage between Fulham and Southampton. Adam Inca
towards Sessegnon, who controls and spins and now attacks Cedric. One-on-one with the defender. Cedric getting some help. Sessegnon's low cross. Schürrle from 6 yards out taps the ball in at the far post to make it 2-1. Brilliant from Ryan Sessegnon on the left-hand side, given an invitation to attack. Low cross towards the far post, nobody marking Schürrle, creeping in around the back, touches in for a second.
Fulham come from behind. Claudio Ranieri getting off to the perfect start at Craven Cottage. They lead Southampton 2-1 at half-time. Here at Vicarage Road, it's 0-0. We'll analyse when we come back. You're listening to Premier League Live.
This type of game, which are so important, means a lot for everyone.
He has done, I think, a very good job. They play a very good football. They are very dangerous in the offensive phase, very dangerous in the short counter-attacks. They are a technical team, and in the match they run to a lot, I think. From the physical point of view, they are a very strong team.
And of course, they have an unbelievable squad. And of course, they are doing very well with Sarri this season. They are still unbeaten. They are in a very good position on the table.
And then there is 4 or 5 teams that will have to fight for the champions position. Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, and I don't know, somebody else. Usually in a season there is a surprise.
Fourth entertaining third then at Wembley. 5:30 UK time is the kickoff. It's Spurs against Chelsea, and we'll get the early team news on that in just over half an hour or so. So when we come back then we'll see if another one of the undefeated sides, Liverpool, can keep up that record in the second half at Vicarage Road against Watford. Of course, City, they're flying at the minute, 3-0 up already against West Ham United at half-time. Chelsea will come later, but for now all eyes are on Liverpool. The second half coming up when we return. You're listening to Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gabardon joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. 1 chance, 1 goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prize.
Big match live. Premier League Live. To you by Talk Sport.
Alongside me is the former Southampton defender Francis Bernali. This is Premier League Live. Francis Bernali, who was quite happy at the start of this game, and slowly as the half wore on, as Fulham scored goals to go ahead of Southampton, his mood has just slightly drifted downwards.
Shifted somewhat, hasn't it, Adam? Yeah. So we're hoping for a bright second half here
And a brighter one at Craven Cottage as well.
Most definitely, yep. We need these gloomy skies to shift over the capital a little bit.
Floodlights, of course, well and truly on top of the Sir Elton John stand on the far side of Vicarage Road, which is full to overflowing today with the visit of Liverpool, of course. Let's run you through the two sides that start the second half then. And it's Ben Foster in goal for Watford. It's Firmino. It's Kiko Firmino, Cathcart, Mariappa and Messina across the back. Hughes, Decore, Capu and Pereira with Delafeu and Deeney up top. As for Liverpool, Alisson's in goal. It's Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Lovren and Robertson. Then Shaqiri, Henderson and Wijnaldum, Salah, Firmino and Mane. And it's Liverpool kicking from right to left then in this second half. All in red from top to toe. We are off and running, and it's the usual yellow and black, of course, for the home side, Watford. And it's a ball down the line from Henderson. First time it's hit into the chest of Hughes. I think it may have winded him a little, but the rebound comes straight back to Henderson, who launches it forward. But Liverpool at that point lose possession. Hughes tries to help it on its way towards Delafeu, who's in such an offside position. If anything did come his way, he's going to get caught immediately, which is reasons why I'm never quite sure about him playing as one of the front two. But as Mane tries to pick it up on this near side, it's how they play for a throw to Watford.
Yeah, Liverpool's joy in the first half, you would probably have to say, sort of came through Shaqiri and their right-hand side a little bit, wouldn't you? Robertson hasn't really sort of bombed down the left or provided anything sort of delivery-wise into the box. From the left-hand side of Liverpool, there was that one opportunity that he put behind the goal, which wasn't great. So I think the Liverpool front three, which were very quiet in the first half, just need to rotate maybe a little bit more. They need deliveries coming into them, that 1 and 2 touch football that we can see and know they're capable of playing. Just needs to come a little bit more evident if they've got to unlock this Watford defence.
Well, we often see, we get a lot of stats at half-time. One of the things we were poring over was the average positions of players, and it just looks like Shaqiri at times is filling space that last season Mo Salah would have had all to himself.
Yeah, that's a good point, Adam. Yeah, he's seen a lot of the ball in there, but you're right, he's maybe sort of snuffing out opportunities for Salah.
Deeney's ball through to Delafeu is intercepted by Robertson. The offside flag was up anyway, and it's a free kick that's taken fairly swiftly here by Liverpool and by Wijnaldum, who's charging forward through the centre on this near side. They've only won one of their last 3 Premier League away games, because they've had Arsenal and Chelsea, which of course finished as draws, but again away from home they have been very impressive so far this season, have Liverpool. But again, in all competitions it's just 4 wins in 10 games, 3 draws in that, of course, 3 defeats as well, which of course includes League Cup competitions and the Champions League, where they've suffered those 2 defeats as well, hence why the game on Wednesday night against PSG has suddenly become so important for last year's losing finalists. Robertson out wide on this near side finds Sadio Mane, who will come forward again once more. He's been closed down by Hughes and by Kiko, but it's back with Firmino, and now once more it's controlled by Robertson. Robertson infield to Van Dijk, who's 10 yards inside the Watford half. It's a spray of a pass out wide to that right-hand side that's intercepted, but it only falls to Wijnaldum again in the middle of the park. You're seeing a lot of the ball at the start of this second period, and we're 3 minutes in, it's still 0-0. Here's Van Dijk again inside the centre circle, coming forward for Liverpool. They bossed in terms of possession, over 70% in that first 45 minutes for the visitors. Here's Mane coming infield again, picks out Henderson. Henderson will probably either go sideways or backwards, will he? He's true to form.
It's everything in front of Watford, though. Nothing's gone between the lines at all, Adam, whatsoever, is it? Yes, Liverpool keeping the ball, they're comfortable in possession, but Watford are quite happy for them to play in front of them all the time. They're not really shifting the ball in between the Watford players and taking them out of positions.
We're interesting there. Henderson has just given the ball to Alexander-Arnold, and the look on his face was as if to say, well, that's lovely, but I've literally got nothing ahead of me, so all I'm going to do is end up going backwards again.
That's what they're doing at the moment. It's sideways, backwards at the moment. You could say, yes, that's nice having possession, but they're not troubling Watford. There, we've just seen the first forward pass from Liverpool, and it's been given away.
It was Lovren trying to feed it through, and it was intercepted easily by Capu, and then the ball goes out of play on the far side for a throw to Liverpool. Not quite what we were expecting from this game so far this afternoon. 4 minutes gone in the second half. It's 0-0. It's a hard-fought contest, 2 very well-organised sides. Liverpool have scored in every away game this season, so it would be a shocker were it to end 0-0. Very rarely do many Liverpool games end 0-0. Of course, the game against Man City did, but that was more by Man City's design than Liverpool's, with a missed penalty by Riyad Mahrez at the end of that game. Here is Alisson at the back. He'll be looking for an 8th clean sheet. Only Hugo Lloris has a better save percentage than Alisson in the Premier League this season, but when you're shelling out £67 million on a goalkeeper, that's kind of what you expect, I think. Here's Robertson down this left-hand side. Early ball bent in. Lovely touch. First time by Firmino. Helps it on to Mane. Off the post. Back to Firmino. And the offside flag is up for a free kick.
Just coming back to my point about not playing balls between the Watford players through the thirds. That was a better pass. Ball in diagonally, playing into the feet of Firmino. Great little timed run. He's taken a touch. Mane had obviously drifted into an offside position, so the shot that come back off the post wasn't going to count anyway, but that's a better pass. That's what Liverpool need to try and do to open Watford up somehow.
5 minutes gone in the second half. Sadio Mane with 3 goals in his last 3 appearances versus Watford. He's not tasted defeat against them, that's for sure. As I mentioned, played 90 minutes for Senegal during the international break. Key figure for them, as well as in this Liverpool side so far this season. He's probably been the most consistent out of the front 3, week in, week out, delivering performances and crucial goals as well. Wijnaldum fighting hard there with Deeney, but Deeney wins that battle, and you hear the lift in the crowd as their talisman just uses his physicality to keep the ball well for Watford. It's back inside their own half again with Cathcart, who's 10 yards short of halfway. He goes forward, little flick off the head of Alexander-Arnold. Lovren has to deal with under pressure from Deeney. Wijnaldum tries to get there, but it's won by Doucouré, who nodded into touch for a throw to Liverpool on the far side.
It's going to be fascinating to see how Gracia and Watford now sort of approach this second half. You know, they've been very much in the game, largely to Ben Foster's saves in the first half, but they look solid largely as well at times. But you know, how adventurous are they going to be to maybe go on and take a chance to win this game?
Here's Deulofeu running towards the edge of the penalty area. Good defending and a good foot in from Henderson. Just helped the ball into the path of Robertson and away from Deulofeu. Good control by Firmino inside the centre circle. Just held off the attention of Capoue. And now the right-footed ball by Alexander-Arnold is drilled to the opposite flank, where he finds Robertson, who's advanced halfway inside Watford territory. Gets it back to Henderson. Shaqiri's got space on the right, but he goes to the left, where he finds Robertson. Robertson, though, is forced back again by Kika. Infield to Henderson, across the centre circle, where he finds Lovren, who just lets the ball run across him and just for a moment lost a bit of control of it. Alexander-Arnold again back to Lovren once more, and here's Van Dijk inside the centre circle.
Again, we're not seeing anything from Liverpool that's answering the questions that Watford are posing to them. Come and break us down, try and break us down. They're quite happy. Look at all the gaps and distances between the Watford players. It's very tight, it's very congested. Liverpool can't find that front 3. Everything's going wide and backwards and sideways. They've got to try and open them up a little bit more somehow.
Alexander-Arnold with a ball in. Firmino tries something dramatic, nearly came to Salah, but Cathcart can deal with it at the edge of the 6-yard area. And Shaqiri then has just caught Deeney going for that, and it's a free kick to Watford, 10 yards outside their own penalty area.
And that chance came all about by literally working the ball wide. Trent Alexander-Arnold just taking a touch, whipping the ball in, almost saying, well, okay, let's put it in the box, let's ask the questions of the Watford defence and see what we can come up with. But it was a pretty spectacular effort from Firmino, which was able to be cleared by Cathcart.
53 and a half minutes played. Watford 0, Liverpool 0. Foster has it midway inside his own half and will launch this free kick forward for the home side towards Deeney. Headers won that time by Van Dijk, and then it's out of play on this near side for a throw to Watford. Midway inside Liverpool territory, taken quickly by Kika into Doucouré. Now helped on its way towards Deulofeu, who's looking to find Messina, but Liverpool can get it away towards Shaqiri. Doucouré is across Capoue, should I say, to do the defending. Back to Foster, who drills it forward with his left foot, trying to pick out Hughes. Hughes takes it down in the centre circle. Helped out wide this time by Capoue and Doucouré. And Doucouré has it at the edge of the centre circle. Here's Hughes on the right. He's got Deeney ahead of him. Deulofeu is wandering down that left-hand touchline as well, but Hughes has it. Plenty of space for Pereira, if Capoue can find him. Messina, now it's on to Pereira on that far touchline. Looking to cut inside Shaqiri. Wants some support, and it comes in the form of Capoue. Here's Doucouré, inside that centre circle. Helped on its way towards Deulofeu. Touch from Hughes to Deulofeu. Deulofeu then up the top to find Kiko with a little touch there inside the box. There's Hughes, goes down. Is that a penalty? No, says the referee. Hughes went down under the challenge from Robertson. There's fury around Vicarage Road, but the referee waves it away, and Liverpool will try and break up the other end with Shaqiri. Shaqiri is taken down. That's going to be a free kick for the foul by Pereira, and there'll be some discussion here as to whether John Moss has denied Watford a penalty at the other end.
Well, it's certainly in real time looked like there might have been a little bit of connection. We're just seeing the benefit of a replay now. Hughes goes to ground. If there is any contact, it's very minimal. Might have caught him sort of around about the knee. There's a big appeal from the Watford players and supporters, and there is contact, definite contact there. Robertson is almost dismissing the appeal, but definitely something that probably could and should have been given by John Moss and his officials.
Yeah, definite contact on the knee of Hughes. Not a lot of contact, but there was definitely contact there. Hughes went down, but John Moss not interested. Here's Mane. Robertson. I mean, admittedly, it took us 2 or 3 looks of our replay to establish and eventually getting the right angle that there was actually some contact. And if there wasn't contact, then he should be booking it.
Exactly, yeah, and the assistant is right on that side of the 18-yard box as well, so he's only a matter of yards away, as well as John Moss's position to it as well.
Here's Shaqiri, 25 yards from goal. To the right-hand side, he finds Lovren pushing it to that far touchline where it's picked up by Alexander-Arnold. Here is Wijnaldum. Lovren again, 10 yards inside Watford territory. Shaqiri, the Swiss, just on the ball, chips it over the top. Cathcart will head it down, picked out by Doucouré. And again, Messina will get it away down that left-hand side. And it's over the top, straight into touch for a throw to Liverpool. To Craven Cottage, Fulham Southampton, Adam Inca.
Cedric, now Gabbiadini, enters the Fulham area. Armstrong, curling shot into the top corner from 20 yards. Spectacular equaliser for Southampton. Wow, they worked that brilliantly on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Armstrong has his second of the game, and it's an absolute rasper into the top corner.
2 for Armstrong. Here there's a change for Watford. Deulofeu is off. Isaac's Success is on. For all Deulofeu's threat, sometimes his touches and his first passes aren't up to scratch, are they?
Yeah, it's been a little bit quiet today. There's been a few passes that were coming into him. He wasn't quite on the same wavelength as his teammates. He was looking to go in behind. They tried playing it into feet. And that link-up play potentially could have resulted in a goal when it was ruled for offside in the first couple of minutes, but on the whole, maybe just a little change up front might just give Watford a little spark that they need to try and get the goal.
Salah through to Wijnaldum. Salah can't get there to win the second ball, and here's Doucouré, intercepted by Henderson. He was trying to find Isaac Success, the substitute, on this right-hand side. The throw-in now will be Watford's, just over halfway. We've had 12, almost 13 minutes of the second half. It's still 0-0. Fabregas with the first change of the game, chewing the nails down on this near touchline. I wonder what Jurgen Klopp's thinking. He must know that Man City are 3 to the good against West Ham at the London Stadium. They need the points to keep up the pressure, Liverpool. Another draw, if it stayed like this, and all of a sudden the gap would be 4 points between the two sides already. There's Van Dijk coming forward for Liverpool. Early days to be worrying about that, but this is obviously game 13 of the Premier League campaign. Over a quarter of the way through. Here's Henderson into Shaqiri. Shaqiri helps it on to Wijnaldum, and that was a tackle from Troy Deeney that at first, for me, felt okay, but John Moss says no. Deeney's not happy, and Wijnaldum's up, and they're taking it fairly quickly here. Right-footed ball in by Alexander-Arnold. It's away from Salah, and then down that right-hand side, Firmino has it, just turns. Firmino with gloves on now for the second half too. Shaqiri from distance, well, he's completely messed that up, but it's fallen nicely for him to Mane. Robertson across the face of goal, and away by Capoue. As far as Isaac's Success on this near side. It started the last 4 games, had success. Now he's got the better of Henderson, who shoves him down. That's going to be the first booking of the game for Jordan Henderson. It's a yellow card. Who says, look, my shirt's been torn. But the free kick has gone Watford's way, and a yellow card.
Yeah, correct decision. Henderson got squared up with success, and as soon as he's done his little bit of trickery and skill and knocked the ball past him, he's got his body in between Henderson and the ball, and as soon as there's that contact, there's only going to be one outcome from the referee, John Moss, and that was the yellow card. But just thinking back to that big decision, how much of a bearing is that going to have on the final outcome and result of this game? Huge call to make. We think that the officials have certainly got that one wrong from what we've seen, with the benefit of 1 or 2 replays.
Well, again, Watford have chosen to take this free kick short. That's lifted out wide down that left-hand side for Pereira to try and chase after, but can't get there. It's out for a throw to Trent Alexander-Arnold. The hour mark ticks round, and we're still without a goal at Vicarage Road. Not the story elsewhere. Brighton lead Leicester by a goal to 0. Leicester down to 10 men in that game. Fulham 2, Southampton 2. West Ham 0, Manchester City 3. Here on that far side, Watford have possession, and it's with Capoue, who tried to get it forward, but Mane has managed to win that back for Liverpool. Shaqiri away down the left-hand side, right-hand side, should I say, onto his left foot. Lovely ball across the edge of the penalty area. Robertson arrives, picks it up, gets it back to Henderson, who lays it off again to Robertson. He's gone down the line. Robertson, though, will go in towards the feet of Salah inside the penalty area. Salah tries to get round, holds the ball nicely, under pressure from Mariappa. Right-footed ball in from Henderson, is well headed away again by Mariappa, out as far as Lovren. To the right-hand side, it's Alexander-Arnold, helped on his way by Wijnaldum, and then by Shaqiri. Here's Wijnaldum again, wide on that right-hand side, looking to try and cross. Messina's there, Pereira's there, both trying to block out the Dutchman as he turns and just tries to force his way through, and he's still going as he gets it to Firmino. Under pressure there from Decore. Firmino's done well, gets away from Decore. Then Wijnaldum gets away from him too. Ball across the box is blocked out by Cathcart, and behind for a corner to Liverpool on the right-hand side.
Liverpool just cranking the pressure up now, a little bit sharper, a little bit more intent in trying to take that Watford defence on, but they're standing strong still at the moment. 3 corners apiece in this game so far. But Klopp's got to be thinking, how can I maybe help my team out here a little bit? At the moment he's probably going to leave it as it is, but he's got to be thinking, how do I make a change just to help my team try and get the 3 points from this game?
Liverpool fans behind the goal with plenty of noise. They're all on their feet as Shaqiri looks to deliver and swing this one across to the front of the 6-yard box, easily dealt with by Deeney, who gets it away as far as Alexander-Arnold, who then on his right foot loads that one back in towards Lovren. The header one on this near side by Decore. Lovren's got round the back of him, lifts it to the back post. Firmino's there and he slips as he tries to hit it, and Hughes can get it away, and now maybe a chance to counter. Pereira up to halfway, Van Dijk is racing back, he's got success and Deeney ahead of him. Pereira tries to bend the ball round towards Deeney. Henderson has to deal with it. First touch takes it almost out for a corner, and then he puts it into touch on the far side at the second attempt.
Game's come to life, Adam. We've got a game on now. Both teams almost feel that they got that little taste that they could get something from this game. But Lovren, great bit of skill up there. It was almost like a winger-like touch and cross into the box, wasn't it?
Throw in from Messina on the far side. We'll go to Goodison Park shortly. A goal between Everton and Cardiff to break the deadlock there. No sign of one here. 63 minutes play. Good throw that to find success. Success towards the edge of the penalty area where Kiko was coming for it. But Mane now with a chance to break. Sadio Mane coming forward. That slips that one into Salah. Surely he was offside. There's no offside flag. Yes, it comes eventually. Very slow on that far side with what looked like an obvious offside. And it will be a free kick to Watford midway inside their own half. Let's go to Goodison Park. Andrew Selfsh, your commentator.
4 yards inside his own half. Into the feet of Bernard. Round the corner it goes. Walcott's in behind. He's into the box. Walcott versus Etheridge. Low break save. Sigurdsson turns it. Rebounding off of Etheridge. It's 1-0 to Everton.
Sigurdsson with the goal then for Everton, who lead by a goal to 0. Brighton still lead Leicester by a goal to 0. Still Fulham 2, Southampton 2, West Ham 0, Man City 3, and Manchester United 0, Palace 0 at Old Trafford. Here is success on this near side. Challenge from Henderson. Free kick given. About 30 yards out from goal, 5 yards in from the near touch, from this near touch line, the right hand side for Watford. And Henderson just arguing, saying what's the foul for. John Moss has told him, and a chance maybe now for I think Messina's going to look to try and swing this one in left-footed. Opportunity for Watford. 64 minutes played, still 0-0. But Eder has come across as well. Now they've yet to load one free kick into the penalty area.
They are, yeah. Be very surprised if they don't on this occasion.
Deeney wants it, I think. Messina will run over it. Correa will then try and clip it in, which he does. Cathcart was there, and there's a foul. And it was a shove, I think, from Cathcart, and it's a free kick for Liverpool. And John Moss just pushing them back inside the penalty area to the edge of the box where it was taken. I think Well, Van Dijk's claimed about 7 or 8 yards there. It's nowhere near where John Moss was telling him to take it. But he's got on with it with Henderson, and Liverpool will come again. With 25 minutes remaining in this game. Watford 0, Liverpool 0. Still no sign of any movement on that Liverpool bench. Daniel Sturridge, of course, is one of those amongst the substitutes. 17 Premier League goals as a substitute. One of the best returns in the Premier League for substitutes.
Well, the front three for Liverpool so far today, Adam, have been very quiet. Firmino's had a shot that was well saved by Foster in the first half. Mo Salah had a header that was saved by Foster. Other than that, the guys have been pretty quiet.
Alexander-Arnold's given that away to Pereira on that far side, who then reciprocates. Lovren tries to get it away. Good skill that time from Deeney, who's busting his way through in towards the edge of the penalty area. And then the offside flag is up, and that's going to be a free kick for Liverpool. Level with the edge of the 6-yard box. There's been another goal at Craven Cottage between Fulham and Southampton. Adam Inca.
Kenny on the corner of the Southampton penalty area. Touches to Christie. Christie dummies one way then the other. Dinks a ball up towards the head of Sessegnon. Mitrovic on the volley makes it 3-2. Mitrovic on the edge of the 6-yard box scores his second of the game.
Here's Mane inside the penalty area. It comes back towards Salah with a chance to finish, and he does! Mo Salah for Liverpool. They have the lead at last, and it's that combination again. Sadio Mane and Mo Salah who deliver the goods for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. It's another goal against Watford for the Egyptian magician. 6 goals now in 3 appearances, and he's set Liverpool on the way again. It's Watford 0, Liverpool 1.
Well, he's latched onto that. It's a great bit of play from timing of the run from Mane is perfect. The pass from Firmino, I think, and then it's Salah with a left-footed first-time shot. Impossible doubt whether there was maybe offside for Mane, but no flag was given. And if you want someone in there to pop the ball away when you most need it, Mo Salah doing like he did against Fulham a couple of weeks ago, scoring again to put Liverpool in front.
Well, there's me telling you he's got 6 goals against Watford. He's telling the fans as well. 2 lots of 3 fingers being held up by Mo to demonstrate how much he likes playing against Watford in these last 3 games. 6 goals to the good, and Liverpool have the advantage. Finally got that breakthrough, and finally they went round the back of this Watford side and got down the sides and did what they probably thought they might do from early on in this game.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to actually sort of create that kind of opportunity. We spoke about how they weren't able to do that to Watford up until that point, but you can just see how dangerous they are. When they do get that little extra yard or a little bit of time and space, they can definitely punish and hurt you. And you know, that's what we've seen many times before, but all 3 players linking up, which so far have been pretty quiet, all had a part in the goal.
Certainly did. And with 22 minutes, so we're beyond the midway point of this second half. Liverpool have that advantage, and it was the pass from Firmino into Mane through the legs of Ben Foster. He's done terrifically well in this game, but this time round after the shot from Salah, I'm not too sure how much he saw of it early, because Cathcart was between him and Salah, but through Foster's legs and rippling the back of the net. Pressure there from Lovren being put on Alisson, who just sweeps the ball out to this near side to Robertson as the Watford centre forwards were converging. Success with putting some pressure on. Wijnaldum tried to step away. There's a high boot there, though, I think, from Doucouré that's penalised by John Moss. And the atmosphere is suddenly just turning a little bit here. Liverpool have the advantage, and a couple of decisions not going Watford's way, and not very happy, to say the least. Here's Mo Salah again. touching it down the line to try and help it into the path of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but there's a foul there and a free kick goes Watford's way. Can they turn this round in the last 20 minutes or so? I'm not sure you saw the goal because your head was in the hands at the time about the fact that Fulham have gone in front of Southampton.
Oh no, it's just a game that's swinging one way and then the other, isn't it? Yeah, so my mind's very much on the game at Craven Cottage, but we've got that goal here now at Vicarage Road, breakthrough here for Liverpool. Watford have got to try and find that little bit of play to get back in it.
And this is nice. Kiko's ball in early at the near post, looking for Deeney. Headed away that time brilliantly by Virgil van Dijk, and away to Sadio Mane again, who just tried to nip through there on Capoue, but Capoue's done brilliantly and has picked up that loose ball for Watford, and he's closed down by Wijnaldum, but then goes back to Messina. Capoue once more.
He's done very well in there today. Him and Decore have been excellent. I think they'll be frustrated that they've conceded that goal, but they've got to try and get back into it now.
Well, I think Deeney would have been offside if that ball came through from Hughes. He opted to try and find success instead, and unfortunately there was no success on the end of it for Watford. But here they come once more, and it's with Decore out wide to the left hand side where he finds success. Now Decore's continued his run. Lovren gets across with the challenge and wins the ball, and Decore is penalised for the foul on Lovren. It's all become a little bit bitty.
Correct decision on that occasion, I think, from John Moss. Decore just stepping across Lovren as he was going to clear the ball. It's a definite foul. Decore also feels differently, but correct decision on that occasion. Again, just going to think about that penalty appeal. Watford would definitely look back upon this if the result stays the same as it is at the moment.
Here's Van Dijk out wide to that right hand side where he manages to find Alexander-Arnold, goes early towards Salah, can't find him, and Salah does really well to just battle and get that ball back off Cathcart. Then Cathcart, the Northern Ireland international, in at the second attempt, and Messina's done well down the line to find success. The Nigerian, who's helped his side qualify for that African Cup of Nations as well, does brilliantly to cut across field, and then find Mariappa back in favour again. Watford, he's been in and out over the many years as Mariappa, but currently finds himself as one of the chosen centre halves. 5th Premier League start in a row for him today. Here is Kiko giving it short again to Mariappa. Infield to Capoue. Capoue's pass is a little short. Mariappa's done well to keep it, then gets it out wide to the right hand side to Hughes. Kiko's gone on the overlap for Hughes, but into an offside position, so Hughes will then just try and get away from Henderson. Now it's given to Kiko on this near touchline to Hughes. Hughes has the ball on his left foot, tries to work it, gives it to Decore. Decore across the face of goal, and it's away by Alexander-Arnold. Capoue's going to hit one on the half volley, always rising and all over the top of the bar. He had a really good goal scoring season 2 seasons ago, did Mr. Capoue, but only got one Premier League goal this campaign. That was against Wolves, and that's well over the bar.
Important positioning from Alexander-Arnold. He had Pereira just coming in at the far post from that cross from Capoue. Good concentration, saw the danger away. Not spectacular, but crucial for Liverpool.
Tottenham against Chelsea is coming up in just over an hour from now. We'll get an early glide on team news for that shortly. Spurs with all sorts of defensive issues ahead of this game, and players missing. It'll be interesting to see what side Maurizio Pochettino is able to put out for that one, the big game of the weekend, and it's on the way in around about an hour from now. Here comes James Milner for Liverpool. He's going to enter the fray in place of Xherdan Shaqiri, who has looked good from set pieces throughout the game, but not really too much of a contribution. Never looks like a player as he goes off who's giving you everything for the shirt. Very casual, not too much sweat, doesn't look too tired.
He's getting a big hug from his manager. He's obviously pleased with his efforts, but yeah, you're right, you feel that there's always maybe just a little something else extra in the tank. You can probably go out and have a good little blast and a run without really coming on giving everything on the pitch, I'd say.
Milner is on then for Liverpool, and immediately helping that down that right hand side to Trent Alexander-Arnold. One would assume Milner will feature heavily in midweek against PSG in that Champions League tie over in Paris. Here is Decore at the edge of the penalty area, back to Mariappa. Cathcart helps on his way. That's nice play from Messina, pushing forward now up to halfway, where success has just given that ball away, and Lovren can deal with it easily on halfway. one of the tactics was to try and get at Lovren. They've not done it very well. Firmino there is fouled by Mariappa. 25 yards from goal, central position, and that's going to be a decent opportunity here for Liverpool.
Well, the man has just gone off, certainly would have fancied his chances from maybe this sort of range, wouldn't he? But it's a foul, yeah. Paul put on the shirt for Firmino. Interesting to see who stands over this one. Salah's hovering around at the moment, Milner.
Alexander-Arnold can pop one. Will Hughes is going off here for Watford. Decent applause as well for Will Hughes. Andre Gray is coming on, so in search of a goal. The second striker joins the fray. I presume Success will move out to a wide position while Gray goes and joins Deeney up top probably here for Watford. Ben Foster just setting his wall, of which he has 4 yellow and black shirts. Henderson, Milner and Alexander-Arnold are all over this free kick for Liverpool. And Mo has arrived as well now, because it probably does suit his left foot, you would feel.
You would think just possibly it's quite central, isn't it? So it'd be interesting to see which one of the two players, Alexander-Arnold or Salah, take this on.
And it is going to be Alexander-Arnold! Oh my word! That's absolutely stunning from Trent Alexander-Arnold! What a free kick! Into the top corner. Liverpool double their advantage. That young man has some style about him. It's 2-0 to Liverpool, and it's an absolutely stunning free kick from Trent Alexander-Arnold.
What a wonderful strike, as you say, Adam. Just his positioning to the ball was almost like a real whip on the ball, wasn't it? He was almost running, his approach was like from sideways rather than running onto the ball, and he's just wrapped his right foot around it. Ben Foster started to move across, and then he realised he had no chance of getting there. Just watched the ball hit the back of his net. Wonderful strike. You could argue maybe the Watford defenders in the wall could have jumped, but I think he's got it up and down. Wouldn't have probably made too much difference, I would say. Wonderful strike from the youngster.
Almost a year since his last Premier League goal against Swansea. Trent Alexander-Arnold is on target again for Liverpool. He's been at the club since the age of 6, and well, those kind of moments are very, very special. What a stunning free kick that is, and a fitting way for what will probably be a victory here for Liverpool, but maybe they've not finished yet, as Mane's coming forward and he's fouled this time by Capoue. It's another free kick, central, but probably about 15 yards further out, so I don't think we'll see him have a go this time.
Possibly not, no. A little bit further in. I'd be very surprised if there was a shot taken on from this range. But just thinking back to the penalty decision, Adam, you know, the whole VAR coming in, you know, if it was here in this game, would that have been an effect? It's bound to be a big talking point.
Changes games, there's no two ways about it. If it wasn't a penalty, then he should have been booked for diving. So exactly. It's one or the other. And for me, certainly looking at the replays, there's definite contact on the knee from Andrew Robertson, but done now, and Watford will probably feel rather hard done by it. So Alexander-Arnold setting Milner away down that right-hand side. Here's Milner, back to Alexander-Arnold again, lovely delivery, Firmino inside the box, just couldn't bring it down quickly enough and wins his side the corner as he plays it off of Kiko, Firmino, and out of play for a corner on this near side.
Real danger now that, you know, Liverpool could sort of get that an extra goal or two. Watford have just got to tighten up, refocus, gather themselves again, get their thoughts back, clear their heads a little bit. I certainly wonder, you know, having been sort of very much in this game for a long period, to all of a sudden find themselves 2 down, very frustrating from their point of view.
Well, either Virgil van Dijk is doing some kind of version of a YMCA, or he's just made a sign to James Milner that he wants this on his head. Milner to deliver from the corner for the left-hand side. That's gone to the near post. Up in the air, and Foster has to tip it over his bar. It was Mane that made the run to the near stick, and no mistake from Ben Foster, who, well, he's had one through his legs and then a free kick that he literally could do absolutely nothing about. And Liverpool grinding their way to victory, and that potential 8th clean sheet as well as things stand. Here's Mane chipping it in, and it's away off the head of Wijnaldum, and then Henderson from the edge of the penalty area will blast it over the top of the crossbar.
Just looking at Trent Alexander's goal, you know, you always question sometimes the positioning of the goalkeepers. When you see sort of somebody just standing and seeing the ball go into the back of the net without making a dive, you can't take anything away from the strike. It was absolutely fantastic, but you do sometimes wonder, it'd be interesting to see another replay if Postino was maybe over-covering that side of the goal a little bit. He had his wall covering that side where the ball went in, but you can't take away the strike, that's for sure. It was a wonderful goal.
Now with a final touch on that far side to concede the throw to Watford. 11 minutes to go. 2-0 to Liverpool at Vicarage Road. Hi to Kyle, who's listening from Boone in North Carolina. Looks like he's on babysitting duties. I'm concerned the baby hasn't actually woken up, because it looks like in the picture he sent, Kyle's having a bit of a yelp about Trent Alexander-Arnold's goal. And no surprise, an absolute stunner that gives Liverpool the cushion of that second goal with just over 10 minutes remaining here. Elsewhere, Brighton 1, Leicester 0. 10 men, of course, Leicester, after Maddison's red card in the first half. Everton 1, Cardiff 0. Fulham 3, Southampton 2. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 0. West Ham 0, Manchester City 3. So at the moment, United losing more ground to Liverpool and to Manchester City in the race to finish in that top 4, which Jose thinks they're going to do. Not based on current form, they won't. Too many better sides around. Success is fouled. There's a free kick here for Watford, midway inside the Liverpool half. Now Henderson again arguing. He's already been booked in this game. Got to be careful. Really does. John Moss, a few words with the referee as well. I think now John Moss is going to call him over. Now, if he hadn't been booked, I would suspect they'd be booking him here, and that's why the Watford fans are coming out with the cries of off, off, off. The Liverpool captain probably may well find himself indeed off in a minute. If I was Jurgen Klopp, I'd probably hook him. Still continuing to argue with John Moss about the decision and the dissent that followed. Still stays a free kick to Watford, and it just means now that Jordan Henderson is walking at a slightly tighter line. Here's the free kick out wide on the right hand side. It's probably about 6 yards in from the near touchline. It's about 35 yards from goal. Pereira on the right foot, Messina on the left foot. So far they've been very ineffective from these kind of situations. Pereira gets that one into the head only though of Virgil van Dijk from the edge of the penalty area. Now a chance maybe to counter here for Robertson. Robertson trying to slip away. Room on the right hand side to Firmino. Salah's gone ahead of him into an offside position. Was he? No flag. And Foster comes out and collects. And I think there were a couple of Watford defenders running back who just about played Salah onside. There's a foul there from Jordan Henderson. That's the second yellow, and he's off, sent off for the foul on Capoue. Second yellow card for Jordan Henderson, coming literally seconds after he'd been warned by the referee for arguing with him. He was booked earlier on. He's got his second yellow now, and Liverpool are down to 10 men for the last 10 minutes of this game.
Crazy reaction from Henderson. You know, you spoke about his dissent, and it was obvious that he was arguing with the referee beforehand. I mean, you could say that's a clumsy one, but you know, he's no need to dip in and make a challenge whatsoever in that. You could argue there's minimal contact there. Yes, Watford players gone to ground very easy, but he's walking that tightrope. It's almost like, why run the risk of sort of even giving John Moss the decision to make in the first place?
It's a cynical professional foul to block him, isn't it? It's deliberate obstruction as Success piles one across the penalty area for Watford. He's deliberately gone, he's knocked it past him, and Henderson's gone, well, I'm going to carry on running into you to block you off.
I don't think he generally sort of meant to, like we have seen some players intentionally really take them out. Yes, he knew what he was doing, but it was very minimal, and he went to ground, but just such a silly sending off, and you can see he was almost still maybe angered from that altercation he had with John Moss earlier, about a minute or two before that.
The manner in which he was herring towards Etienne Capoue, I think, was an indication that the red mist was still down and across Jordan Henderson's eyes after that, but that's foolish.
I wouldn't know anything about that, the red mist descending, Adam, in a game.
Well, he'll miss the game against Everton, so he'll miss the Merseyside derby next weekend. Flick on by Mane. They're going to make a change, Liverpool, to cover up the fact, of course, that Henderson's been red carded. They are two up here, though, with only 7 minutes or so remaining, so it's going to cause them too many problems, unless, of course, Watford were to get one now, and then we really would be in for a barnstorming finish. It's Van Dijk who puts out a play on the far side for a throw which Deeney will take level with the edge of the penalty area. We have 6 minutes remaining. Watford 0, Liverpool 2, but Liverpool are down to 10 men. Messina will take the throw. Shaw to Doucouré. Doucouré back to Messina, but Firmino is there to interject. Now they've taken this one quickly. Back to Messina again. What's he going to load into the box? And what damage can it do? Comes to Success. Chance here for Kiko. Success across the face of goal, but at a tight angle, and it's blocked and cleared away by Sadio Mane, who will then lump it forward, and Cathcart can take it down and find Foster. A goal for Watford now would make this really interesting.
Oh, wouldn't it just? I was thinking exactly the same thing as you said, Adam. You know, if they could manage to get a goal now, it would crank the pressure up on Liverpool down to 10 men. The home support would get right behind them, but they just got to find that breakthrough first.
Here is Success down this right-hand side, looking to cut infield. Robertson's there with him, tries to give it back to Doucouré, who's been everywhere today, just trying to win possession. Now it's Doucouré again coming forward. He's got Deeney and Gray ahead of him, of course. There is Success, who goes back this time again to Capoue. Capoue then shifts it to the far side, and on the run to try and keep that ball in was Pereira, but couldn't quite manage it, and it's out for what will be a goal kick to Liverpool, away to our right-hand side. A reminder, with 5 minutes left of our games this afternoon, Brighton lead Leicester by a goal to 0. Everton lead Cardiff by a goal to 0. It's Fulham 3, Southampton 2. Manchester United 0, Palace 0, and West Ham 0, Man City 3. Mo Salah is the player who is being substituted here for Liverpool. And probably no surprise that they just want to bolster that midfield and see this game out. I think he's very much aware, as Fabinho comes on, Jurgen Klopp, that if they were to score, it would be an intriguing finale to this game. Probably wants that clean sheet as well. They have won 3 of the last 4 Premier League games in total, Liverpool. Mostly, of course, been superb in recent weeks at home. Good away win this, though, if it stays as it is. Header won that time by Capoue. Knocked down towards Pereira. Then almost come to Mane again. Now it's picked up by Success. Here's Pereira. Deeney wants it. Pereira's going to try and bend one, but just wide of Alisson's left-hand post, and he immediately is out to his defence, questioning why they would let Pereira run like that. The Argentinian just trying to drift it into the corner, but set it out far too wide.
Yeah, he did. He just tried opening himself up. Didn't trouble Alisson at all whatsoever, but I think he was comfortable across the goal. Liverpool just need to manage this game out now. Should have more than enough, even with 10 men, to see this game out now at this point.
This will be 3 defeats in the last 4 at home for Watford. Bearing in mind, Man United and Watford and Bournemouth, the 2 sides that have come here and managed victory so far this season. That's a poor touch from Deeney. Out of play on that far side. That will be a throw into Liverpool midway inside their own half. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Watford 0, Liverpool 2. Liverpool down to 10 men after the 2 yellow cards shown to Jordan Henderson.
Again, it just shows the strength of Liverpool now defensively. We spoke about and saw last season their attacking threats that they had, but they can score goals. But I think what will please Klopp as well is another clean sheet, should they get that today.
Victory here as well. It'll be their best start since 1990-91 in the top flight, making waves. And interestingly enough, it's invariably in his 3rd season that Klopp has an element of success. He got promotion and of course managed to win a trophy with Borussia Dortmund. Decent run here on that far side for Watford by Doucouré.
It's an excellent run. He's won a corner for his team as well.
He has. So yeah, 3rd season for Klopp is usually when things start to happen and the rewards start to come. Maybe that's going to be the case with a win here. As we say, the best start since 1990 or 91 for Liverpool. Corner swung over, edge of the 6-yard box. Success tried to go up for it. Half cleared by Liverpool, but not fully cleared. Wijnaldum tries to get it away. Back in towards Messina, because they piled everyone forward there, Watford. Counter was on. Here's Robertson. Oh, lovely slip away by Robertson down the left-hand side. Charging towards the edge of the penalty area. Looks for support. Firmino arrives. Mane! Good save. Foster. Follow up by Firmino and in. And there's no offside flag, and it's 3-0 Liverpool. And Roberto Firmino ends his goal drought at game number 8 in the Premier League. 3 points for Liverpool. Another 3 goals for the tally. Firmino's back, and Watford are done. Watford 0, Liverpool 3.
It was fascinating to see how sort of Robertson was in the position to sort of break away from Liverpool, and he's got there ahead of them. The Watford defender, his touch took him into space. He raced into the 18-yard box. I think it was the initial cutback. It was down left-hand side for Southampton. Watford completely stretched, trying to get something at the other end. He's cut it back for Mane. It's a wonderful save from Foster from the first shot, but it's popped up straight to Firmino. And then it's into the back of the net to make it 3-0.
He had an initial concern about being offside, but Kiko was on his backside at level with the goal line, and it meant Firmino was in a sensible position just to nod it in beyond Foster and into the back of the net to wrap up the points for Liverpool. 3 goals to the good as well. 33 points from their first 13 Premier League games. Well, it's their joint best return ever before today when they had 30. Now it is their best in 28 years. Van Dijk's had to head that one over the bar as the ball's kicked in towards Deeney and out for a corner to Watford as they try to preserve this clean sheet as well. 5 goals conceded in the opening 12 games so far. They're trying to avoid and nab themselves another clean sheet today. Watford, though, are intent on breaching that defence. Pereira with a corner on this right-hand side. We've had them 90 minutes. We are into time added on, of which there'll be 4 minutes. Pereira gets it over. Quick header is over the top of the bar. It was decent from Cathcart, but always watched safely by Allison.
It was a good effort. Cathcart just getting across the Liverpool defenders, and it's interesting to see the reaction of Van Dijk at the end of that as well. He's almost like screaming. He's not happy with his teammates. Obviously Liverpool going with that zonal marking, but still Cathcart able to, by making the run across the defenders, a little bit of time and space, but seeing his header go over.
We are about 40 seconds into added time at the end of this. I would say it's not been an enthralling encounter, that's for sure, but certainly Liverpool have turned on the style in the last half an hour or so, having worn Watford down in the first hour. And they have a 3-goal advantage right now. I think they're going to make another substitution too. Throw in on that far side, which Milner will take. But in the meantime, Joel Matip is going to get a moment or two, and Firmino will depart. And Firmino will be glad to be back on the goal trail. He's not had the best of starts to this Premier League campaign. He's only scored 1 goal in 11 appearances prior to today. None in 7 in the Premier League, but he's put that right now, and that's actually his 5th goal in 6 appearances against Watford. And both he and Salah very much like playing against the Hornets.
Oh, it certainly seems so, doesn't it? We saw in Salah's celebration. He reminded the Watford fans, as you mentioned. But they wondered, again, come back to this decision. It would be interesting to get that replay and that view again. You're right, if it's a dive, players are going to be booked for it. And there's 2 officials, the referee and the assistant, close to the incident. You've got to get these decisions right.
2 minutes of added time remaining. Watford 0, the 10 men of Liverpool 3. Here on this near side is Kiko launching it forward to try and find the head of Deeney. Nice knockdown as well towards Gray. Deeney takes it on, and the shot is blocked by Virgil van Dijk, who defensively has been immense for Liverpool today. Just as and when needed, and now the counter's on. Wijnaldum finds Mane on that far side. Not the best of balls from Wijnaldum to Mane, and then the foul on success from the Senegalese international, and that's going to be a free kick to Watford midway inside their own half.
Klopp's made those changes. The guys should be very much mindful of just seeing this game out now with the big game coming up in midweek against PSG. Just save those legs a little bit. No need to sort of chase that 4th goal really necessarily.
Well, the running of Wijnaldum there said he fancied. He really did pelt forward to try and get the better of that Watford defence. It's a ball through from Matip, but that's just going to go all the way through and safely into the feet of Ben Foster away to our left-hand side. Jurgen Klopp still barking instructions out to his defence. That Sean Matip is just sitting in a kind of holding midfield role just in front of the 2 centre-halves since coming on to replace Firmino. His success on that far side. Getting that ball back once more into the centre circle where they find Mariappa into the final minute. Another victory for Liverpool. The unbeaten run continues. Man City 3-0 up away from home as well, so they've matched the result that they've secured at West Ham today. And the gap will stay at 2 points, and the goal difference will be unmoved. Out wide on that left-hand side, Messina cutting in now onto his outside of his left boot, trying to find Deeney, who was lurking. Deeney's record against Liverpool, not the best. His 6th performance against them today and yet to score a goal. Here's Mane, he's got support from Wijnaldum ahead of him into the dying seconds. Mane with the ball at feet, just tries to clip it over to Wijnaldum, who was offside according to the assistant, and that should be enough, you'd think, for John Moss maybe. We've had 4 minutes and he does put his whistle